This week is very special for us. It's a huge milestone. I mean, there's not many businesses around who can say they've been on a small island operating telecoms for a period of 50 years, 5 decades. It's massive, and it's so important to us. It's so important to us that we provide a service that people enjoy and that we keep providing the service that people want as well.
So we've got a week full of activities this week. We're celebrating Shore's 50th anniversary of being on the Falkland Islands. So from established 1974, Cable and Wireless came over, established themselves with the government, take over the telecommunications, and then from there we've evolved. But yeah, we're rebranded as Shore back in Isle of Man, Jersey and Guernsey, and we rebranded here as Shore as well.
For the last 50 years, Cable and Wireless, and then Shore, have been the face of telecoms in the Falkland Islands. But how did it all start, and what was the technology like in those early days?
Cable and Wireless first came to the Falklands in 1966. At that stage, everything was Morse code. So they installed a modern, in those days, radio telex system up at VPC. And they also introduced, shortly after that, telephone calls. So I think we had an hour a day of international telephone calls to the UK. International calls were actually limited to 10 minutes a call. So we managed to get 4 calls an hour, and that gave you sort of 5 minutes to set up, because you had to call the operator in London, who then dialed up the number you wanted. And this went on right up until 1985. You could book your telephone call 2 weeks in advance. It did give you the opportunity to make sure that whoever you were calling was going to be at home. But Christmas time, I mean, calls were limited to 3 minutes. It wasn't until 1988, 1989, when the national telephone system came in and Cable and Wireless took over that people had the luxury of telephones in their homes. And we skipped a complete generation of telephones. We went straight from the turn handle to the digital phones. We missed out the rotary dial telephones here. So yeah, there's not a rotary dial telephone anywhere.
Any company, no matter where it is in the world, is only as good as the people who work for it. So, who are the people that make Sure the business that it is? And how long have they worked for the company?
About 18 years now. It's like 2007 I joined. So when we started in the Isle of Man, we started as a new network. So there was already a main network there, and then Shore came over, and I joined Cable and Wireless when they first started there.
I originally started, it was during the work experience at the community school. They had offered a number of sort of places for the placement, and I saw that Cable and Wireless at the time had a placement, so I applied for that. And before coming to work for Shore, I only had one other job, and I was sort of very customer facing. So it was great coming to work for here, because it's quite a varied job. There's sort of lots of things to do, and you get to grips with a lot of systems, a lot of things to work with and actually get familiar with. So you build up an experience.
I've been working for Shore for 24 years now. I mean, I've been involved with bringing in the new equipment. They're the things that I genuinely enjoy, and so that's always a nice sense of achievement once you've got something in and it works.
It is great working with this team. It's a very good team. Everybody's happy to help out where they can. You need only ask, and I think it's a good atmosphere when it comes to sort of the staff and the company here.
The key thing is that the team are amazing to work with. They all work well together. They all want to improve telecoms across the islands, and they want to make things, better for everybody. So it's a lot more personal here. You do see people a lot more out on the streets, in the shops. You do talk with people a lot more personally.
We're in like a sort of small community, a quite remote community as well. So being able to give people the means for like that communication or such is really rewarding.
No matter where you are on a weekend, be it in a pub or out in a shop buying a loaf of bread, you will have customers coming up to you, you will have people expressing their opinion, but it's always to ensure that the team are aware of the messaging that's going out to the public. They are aware of what progress we're making or plans that we have for the future. They're all a part of that. So I think communication is key within the whole team. People are the most important thing in the whole business that we have here. But it's been going out and meeting businesses, listening to people. I love that. Not always I hear what I want to hear, but at the same time, it's good to be talking to people and understanding people's needs and how I can use that to take the business forward and improve the service that we provide as well.
The first telephone lines were installed in the Falkland Islands in 1880 by the Falkland Islands Company. And with the advent of the internet and broadband being successfully implemented islands-wide by 2009, communications in the Falklands have changed significantly since its humble beginnings.
We've not always been blessed with the best technology, and we've had to put up with what was available. When we got national phones back in the late 80s, the equipment that was available at the time was not the best. And the very first stuff that we had to install around the farms was poor quality, but there was nothing else available. And then internet, when it was first introduced here in '97, was dial-up, but it was what was available. And then along came broadband, but there were very few technologies around at that stage. Yet now there are so much more.
I mean, when I first started, we were on dial-up modems. The internet has come on leaps and bounds from where we were. Obviously, we've got a long way to go yet, but we're getting there.
I think we play an important role, but we also realise how important we are in ensuring that everyone is safe, able to communicate on island as well as overseas as well. And it's a good feeling to be a part of that, but it's also quite a job to take on as well, to be responsible for all that we provide and that we can provide. And I understand when people get frustrated if they don't have a service, because I can see how vital it is, especially if you're out at camp, if you're out at camp alone, and during the winter when it can be dangerous as well. So it's really important, it's hugely important. I mean, our strategy is connecting island communities, so as a business we understand the importance of that role as well.
The telecommunications industry is constantly changing, and here in the Falklands that is no different. So what plans and developments do Shaw have in the pipeline to keep up with the rest of the world?
I mean, there are constraints. Okay, there are new technologies around now, dare I mention things like Starlink, but as things progress, certainly for the Falklands, there are always going to be limitations. But in my 41 years in telecommunications, I went from Morse code to telex, radio telex, managing a manual telephone exchange, to emails. So yeah, who knows where we're going next.
In order for us to progress further, we need to be able to develop with the speed in which technology is developing, and we've seen over recent years that technology is moving so fast. How I'd like to see the business going is to have a long-term vision instead of a short-term vision. We need to listen to all sectors of the community, and we should be able to focus on addressing everyone in the community, not just a small section of the community as well. But more than anything, we just want to ensure that people are able to communicate freely and at a price that they're able to afford as well, and ensure that we're able to keep the whole islands communicating with each other and externally as well.